Hello, I'm DigitalDuck and this is Set Willy II. I'm going to be completing 100% of the game. I'm going to be joined on commentary by Tiny Tim.
Hello there, folks.
And we're going to just get straight into it and explain along the way. So let's find my save state so I can start properly. There we go. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Good luck.
Okay, so this is Set Willy II Plus. This is a remake of Set Willy II, created by the original developer of Set Willy II. It was actually written in 2017, so this is one of the newer games in the marathon. The basic idea is that it's a reimagining of Set Willy, which is the sequel to Manic Miner that you'll see later. In Manic Miner, Willy, a miner, hence the name, fell down an abandoned mine shaft and found lots of precious treasures that he collected, gathered up and sold to buy a mansion. In Set Willy, he threw a massive party, got incredibly drunk, fell asleep in the bathtub, woke up with a hangover, and couldn't go to bed because his housekeeper, Maria, wouldn't let him until he tidied up the entire house. In Set Willy II, we are actually reliving Willy's memories. So 30 years later, he's thinking back to that night that he had the big party, and he's remembering everything that happened, but because it's 30 years in the past, and because he's a lot older now, his memories have changed the events somewhat, and so now he thinks he went into space and got stranded on a deserted island and all of those things. And that's basically the excuse for having a whole bunch of new rooms in the game. Movement is fairly simple. We've only got 3 controls: move left, move right, and jump. When you're in the air, you can't control your movement. So basically, the instant you press the jump button, you have to hope that you're going where you want to go. And I've taken my first death there.
You may think, oh, that's easy. No. This is well known. I mean, this, as Duck says, is a slightly newer version of the game. But these games were very, very... They originally came out... The Set Willy II was 1985, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And these games have... Well, they have a reputation of being incredibly difficult. I mean, they really, really are. And this version just ramps it up even more so.
Yeah, so having said that, one thing that this game has that the original Set Willy and Set Willy II didn't have is an extra life system. So you'll see there's a bonus counter at the bottom right. This goes down by 1 every time I collect an item or visit a new screen. And when it hits 0, you get an extra life. And I think it resets to 40 every time. So basically, every 40 screens or items I collect, I get an extra life. And that, in general, makes things a lot easier over the course of the run. We've still got a lot to get through, though. So because we're playing 100%, we actually want to visit every single room in the game and collect every single item. And that's not a simple task.
How many screens and items are there in total in this version?
So there are 147 rooms, which is a massive boost from the 60 in the original Set Willy, and I think 135 in Set Willy 2. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere around there. And there are 330 items, which is, again, it's quite a lot. But you'll see a lot of them come in batches. So we'll go through one area which has 60 in one go.
I always think of that whenever I think of that. I think that must have been one heck of a party.
Yeah, Well, as we say, he's reliving his memories, so this isn't quite how it went down. This is how he remembers it. So coming up, we've actually got a strat that I only found recently. I used to think you had to wait for this lift, but you can actually just jump straight onto it, and you'll be fine. It looks like you're going to die, but actually you're fine.
Nice.
And that was a really bad jump. So we can't lose too many lives because there are a lot of rooms that we have to die to either access or escape from. This level, by the way, is a reference to Jetpack, another Spectrum game. I'll have to run that at some point, I think.
A lot of this game had lots of sort of self-referential stuff, and again, Manic Miner was the same, which you'll see later. But this is yeah, there's lots of sort of in jokes and 80s references and etc.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a level here called Beam Me Up Spotty. So if you can't, if you weren't sure there were references before. Yeah, so there are quite a few rooms that we need to die to either access or escape from. And I think that's 6 deaths in total required just for that. So you'll notice we've only got 5 lives, which means at the moment that's going to be bad. But because we can earn extra lives as we go, it'll be fine. There's a tap in the bathroom. Normally that would be the first item you collect. We're actually not going to manually collect it ourselves at any point. You'll see how that works towards the end of the game.
The bathroom is the original starting point for the original game and for the original Set Willy II, but this version actually starts in a different room.
Yeah, so I don't know why it was changed. I think it was just to make it more different to the original game. But a lot of this section of the game you'll recognise from the original Set Willy. It's virtually unchanged. The only thing that's different is some of the enemy cycles are slightly different. And the game runs a lot faster. That should probably be added. Oh, I didn't mention, the jumping mechanic is actually different in this game as well. So in Manic Miner and Set Willy, if you jump in one direction and then immediately try to jump in the opposite direction, you will actually do... not that. Don't do that. You'll actually do a vertical jump before changing direction. But in this version, you can immediately change direction, and that makes things a lot easier and a lot more comfortable to run. I need to get back.
This is an infamous room in the original games. The Nightmare Room, as you can see, we changed into the Flying Pig here. It was a very... And this was also in the notorious room in Banyan Tree.
Yeah, but they're much easier in this version. Okay, I didn't die there. So when that could have been 2 deaths. Luckily, in this version of the game, when you die, you actually get a short period of invulnerability, which I am going to abuse later in the run, if I can avoid losing my lives before then. It looks like I can't.
No.
I'm gonna have to try and focus a bit harder because this is going a little bit badly.
Yeah, no worries. That was a room there. We just saw the conservatory roof. That was again a very, very difficult room in the original. And the original version of Set Willy, of course, was very infamous because it was bugged and you couldn't actually complete it. No such problems with this one though, but apart from the difficulty of the game itself. And we're in the west bedroom here, above the west bedroom. This is all original rooms, as in, this was rooms that were in because of the 3 versions of the game. You've got Set Willy, which was the original game, Set Willy II, which was the original sequel, and then this version of Set Willy II by the original developer of that game. And this obviously has extra rooms and extra bits added on top of the extra rooms that Jet Set Willy 2 added in the first place. So, yes, to say it's quite large is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah, and we're in Wine Cellar now, which is probably the hardest room in the game, as far as speedrunning goes, at least. So I can, in the original version, you could jump across these platforms quite easily. But because the jumping mechanic is very slightly different, you actually can only jump across them from right to left now, in this smooth movement. Okay, I can if the monk isn't in the way. From left to right it's a lot harder. But I somehow managed to survive there, so it's fine.
Good stuff. Yeah, this is one of the few rooms, one of the rooms that I really don't like in the original. It's one of the rooms that gives me a lot of problems. And this is also a very notorious room. And Duck and I were talking about this before the run. The patterns in here are actually different from the original. So if you've played the original, you think, oh, this is the same. And of course it's not. The enemy patterns are slightly different, which means you've effectively got to relearn the room. And this room is, as you can see, a challenge in the first place.
Yeah, normally I just made it. Normally I would death warp my way through those, not death abuse through those monks, because it's easier and faster. But because things haven't gone well so far, I've decided to try and save those lives, and it worked out okay.
Do you mind if I jump in with a couple of quick donations?
No, go ahead.
Awesome. We have $20 from Anonymous with the comment, "Play in police mode." That was in all caps, so I had to shout that a little bit. And we also have $10 from Tomalach13 with no comment, but has put that towards Might and Magic, Fiona's campaign. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks for the donations. Keep them coming in. So you'll notice I've just hit a trip switch. This is quite infamous in Jet Set Willy lore. In the original Jet Set Willy, when that was released, there were rumours that there were a certain number of actions you could do on the yacht, and it would send you to a deserted island. This wasn't true, of course, on the original game, but in Jet Set Willy 2, they actually added that ability because of all of the rumours. So that trip switch there actually turns on the yacht, and when we go there later, we will be able to take it to a deserted island.
You may have noticed these arrows flying in and out on the various screens. They were a feature in the original game, but this version really sort of ramps them up quite a bit. There's something you're constantly having to be on the watch for.
Yeah, there's a lot of arrows in this game. A lot more than in the original. Sometimes it's obnoxious.
Always loved the name of this room. Some of the room names are very, very surreal, very, very interesting. Quite like Billy's Bird Bath as well.
Yeah, I'm not so much a fan of CD Hole.
I think my favourite room is the space one, Duck. You'll know the one I mean, probably. I don't know if and when we get to it, but.
Oh, it fell off the platform. It's fine. So you can make a lot of small mistakes without too much issue. These monks here, they are static until you collect these crosses, and then they start moving. There's quite a lot of these almost mini challenges in this game. We've got crypts to sort out later. For now, we're going into the pits.
Yeah, we're in Jet Set Willy 2 territory here. This was all stuff that wasn't in the original game.
So we're actually coming up to our first mandatory death here. So if we drop down from water supply, we enter well, dinking water. And I think the well rooms only count once, even though there's 3 of them. But dinking water definitely is a room that it adds to your room counter, so we have to visit it 100%. But of course, once you enter it, you can only fall to your death.
Now,
So that's one time we have to lose a life.
now, am I right in saying in the original Jet Set Willy 2, if you fell in there, it would restart you at the top of the drinking water screen and you just keep falling to your death? Is that correct? Or would it always put you back
no.
to the top of the well?
No, so Jet Set Willy 2 had the same respawn mechanics as this, where it takes you back to your last stable ground you're on.
Cool.
So you end up back in the water supply. I took an intentional death in the crypts earlier because it's just because it's faster than pressing the switch. I probably should have done it a long way, but I feel like being a bit risky.
And this is another Jet Set Willy 2 screen. I quite like this. There is another screen like this later on. But there's 2 in this version, isn't there, I think?
Yeah, so there's 3 in total. We said hi to Hades, which is an infamous room in the first game. So in the original Jet Set Willy, if you entered entrance to Hades, that was your game over because you would be in an infinite death loop. But in this version, we can stop by, say hi, take a death, add it to our room counter, and move on.
Whistle stop too.
Yep.
I always found this room challenging. I still find this room challenging, going across the top of it.
Yeah, and Under the Drive is it's I think it's possibly easier in this version because the timing is very slightly. You've got an extra frame of leeway, but at the same time the game runs faster, so that's not necessarily helpful.
Or is that the jump over it going into the Under the Drive from this bit? Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 2 frames of leeway on this version. On the original, you've just got the 1.
That looks easy there, but it is, as Duck says, like 2 frames. It's really one of the trickiest jumps in the game. The Mega Tree. This is all original Jet Set Willy territory.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I did like about this is that the colour schemes are different. Quite significant.
Yeah, so they're based on the Amstrad version. Because the Amstrad has a different way of doing colours. The colour palettes were different, so a lot of the Spectrum versions on Jet Set Willy 2 actually use the Amstrad colour palette. So that's the off-license sword. So you'll notice there's an item in the garden that we missed. We're going to go back and get it now.
Am I right in saying the off-license is still the bottom right-hand corner of the map? That's the sort of furthest along
Yep.
you go, yeah.
The furthest right, yeah. So normally I would jump off at the garden and take a death warp to save going back across those platforms, but again we're a bit low on lives, and I do need to lose a few more. So we're gonna save those for now. So for this period, this part of the game is exactly the same as the original. Nothing in the Mega Tree was changed at all, except the colour scheme here. And to be honest, that's a good thing, because I think the Mega Tree is a really solid section of the original game. It's good. It's good as far as layout goes. It's good conceptually.
One of the things I really love about this game is, especially the original, is how it all sort of fits together. It's very, very not logical, but you know what I mean. It's got a good. It feels that cohesive, I think, is the right way of putting it.
Yeah, so even though it's got a wide variety of rooms, you never feel like you're randomly swapping from one to another. It does make sense when you go from one room to another. It's like here, we're going from the top of the tree onto another part of the top of the tree. We're not suddenly in, I don't know, the bedroom or something like that, because that wouldn't make any sense.
This is always a little tricky screen. Again, is it any easier in this version or about the same?
About the same. So we're going to jump off into Without a Limb, and that's the third room we have to die. to access or to escape from.
Bit of invulnerability
After that,
abuse there.
yeah. So I just hold left after I've done that. Because I have to die there anyway, I may as well use the invincibility frames I get from doing it. It just makes things a lot easier again.
Tight, that's good.
Right, security guard.
Oh,
As long as you get the first jump right, the rest of it follows through. And you'll find that's a pattern in a lot of this. A lot of the time, I'm just aiming for the first jump, and hoping that if I time that right, I can just do the rest, no problem, because I can just hold down the button.
I take it we're going up the east wall here, yeah.
Yep, but we've got to take a stop by the chapel first,
Ah, right.
because that's going to put us close enough anyway. So one thing that is new to Jet Set Willy 2 Plus specifically is that I can jump on the edge of this conveyor and turn around without dropping down, and that makes this room a lot easier.
Yeah, I remember this one being challenging to say the least.
Yeah, if you can turn around on the edge of the conveyor, it basically removes all of the challenge. If anything, it's too easy now. Right, so we're going to go up. So this is another very difficult room. The library. So this is basically the bottom half of Forgotten Abbey all over again. And this was even more annoying in Jet Set Willy 2, because when you die to one of those enemies, you could respawn on top of them and instantly die again. And then just be stuck permanently. But because we've got temporary invincibility in this version, that's not a problem. We don't have to worry about that risk.
I do love the changes that this version made to the sort of quality of life. It made what can actually be a very frustrating game, Jet Set Willy 2. I mean, it's a good game in my opinion, but it can be very, very frustrating. It's very, very easy to get yourself in an endless death loop or whatever. Whereas the quality of life changes that this version made are really good.
Yeah, it's the reason I'm running this version and not the original. It's just so much better to play generally. Right, East Wall. So the changes in jump mechanics actually make Priest's Hole a lot more fun, I think. So when we get up here, you'll see me just bounce about. It's good fun. Ready for this? Boing, 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 boing.
Always love this bit.
Oh, I missed the timing on that. That's fine. We'll just have to wait for the head to go up and down. Into the present wrapping room. So this is a room that's brand new to Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. And it's predictable enough that you can get through it, but it can trip you up sometimes. So the platforms move in a way that's not entirely predictable. Let's go up here. We won't talk about the elephant. We talked about that last time.
That was one of the few rooms that's actually renamed, isn't it, between Jet Set Willy and Jet Set Willy 2?
Yeah, so it was originally called Dr. Jones Will Never Believe This. And it's been renamed to, I mean, even I don't believe this. I think it's implying that that's what Willy's thinking.
And yes, that is an aeroplane that's crashed into the roof of the house.
Yes, the Nomen Lunny is a reference to I forget which company's motto.
Oh yeah, is it Imagine maybe? I don't know.
It sounds like Imagine, yeah. This whole section is a reference to Hunchback. We have the infamous Quirker Fleeg room. And we're not going to perform a Quirker Fleeg because I'm speedrunning.
Bit
and
inconvenient.
it takes too much time to do that.
Again, this is all original Jet Set Willy stuff at this point. Is the warp the same there? Does that take you to the ballroom again if you go up the top of the Rescue
No,
Esmeralda?
it doesn't. It takes you to the Belfry.
Ooh.
So the brand new room for Jet Set Willy II. And this has been thoroughly reworked in Jet Set Willy 2 Plus as well. So in the original, this was a lot harder and it only had one item. But now we've got a total of 13. So it's worth a lot more coming up here. Drop down.
Oh, insane that Jet Set Willy 2, I know Jet Set Willy doesn't have them. Jet Set Willy 2 didn't have the collapsible platforms either, did it? Or did it?
I don't remember.
I don't think it did. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played Jet Set Willy 2 because I never got very far with it. It was a great game, but I was terrible at it.
So in addition to the extra room above the Rescue Esmeralda, because you could warp there in the original, you could also warp in the Watchtower in the original. So there's an added room above here. This is the rocket room. It takes you back into space.
This is the one I always remember. I always used to go up to always spent my time trying to get to this room.
And this is how you would access space in the original game. Without starting the...
Star Trek reference there.
Yeah, so basically this whole space section is a Star Trek reference. If you look at the shape of the rooms, if you like plot them out on a map, they're actually in the shape of the Enterprise.
Great.
And a lot of the rooms have names that are references to Star Trek things like IAPN. We need to take one more death here. So you'll notice there's UFO in the corner. We need to die so we can walk through it and get to glitch and holodeck. So the numbers we get here are actually random. They are different every time.
This is the Jet Set Willy 2 Plus room, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is brand new to this version. And this is where we get the bulk of our items. So there's 60 items in the holodecks. We got as 00. That's rare. And then we come out of the holodeck and we're back in the shuttle bay. I'm not quite sure how that works geographically, but just roll with it. So we have our third moving platform room. And this one's got tribbles in it.
This is the one that I like. Is that different from the Jet Set Willy 2 version? Is there less tribbles?
No, this is the same.
Same, okay.
It's a lot easier going down than it is going up. I think that's true of this game in general. So we have some crosses on platforms here. We're supposed to jump up to the platforms to get them, but Willy's quite tall, so we can just get them from underneath. Save us the effort. There's Maria. We don't actually see her in this run. Outside of that and the Nightmare Room, because we collect all the items before we even get to the master bedroom. But we can make our way over Macaroni Ted here.
Love those camels. Are they an Attack of the Mutant Camels reference, I think? Oh, they must be, I imagine.
I'm not sure. Probably. Okay, so Star Drive. This was an infamous room in Jet Set Willy 2, because you can see all of these conveyor belts. They weren't visible in the original, so you could not tell which direction you were going to go when you landed on the platform, which was just a nightmare. So luckily that's all fixed here, and we can see where we're going. We have to wait a little while here because we've got some moving enemies to avoid. We've got to make a tight jump over the penguin. And I'll get on the way back. And we're all good now. That's most of the hard stuff out of the way. I've got enough lives. I think I can probably manage the death warps again from here. I should be fine. So here we can get through this room just by holding right. And just stopping here. We drop down. So there is one more new room in the space section for Set Willy II Plus. And I think it's just a testing room. I think it was just a room that the developer was using to test things.
I still love the creativity of this. I mean, it's so bizarre. It's great.
So it's this room. It's got lots of enemies in, and that's it. Cartography room is interesting. This is actually a map of everywhere we've been so far. And if we were to come here at the end of the game, after we've been everywhere, you'll see a completed cartography room. We don't actually see it in this run because we just want to complete it enough to be able to collect the item there. From here, we're back at the start of the game. We just need to make our way back to the teleports because we've been here already. This is the only bit of retreading ground that we have to do. Say hi to Captain Slog. And this version of the game adds some extra teleports, which are very good because they save us a lot of time in routing. So we're going to teleport straight to the back door. And this means we can make our way to Cold Store and continue our route from there.
Back into the original part of the game here. Though I do have to say I do prefer the Set Willy palette for this room. A purple cold store is a bit bizarre.
Yeah, this doesn't look very much. It doesn't look very icy compared to the original. So we climb up the cold store rope and we end up in the sewer.
I always hated this bit. I almost died.
And I don't know why there's another house in the sewer. But not only is there a house, but Set Willy II Plus adds a secret experiment room. And we have a whole host of items in this section of the game as well, as you can see. So we've got a lot of collecting to do. How are you all enjoying the music so far? Is it
Well, I like the multicolour change on the enemy there. That's nice. That's something a bit different.
Yeah, again, because these are brand new rooms, they do some different things.
Yeah, and the enemy patterns are different as well, yeah. It's nice to see. It's lovely, actually, to see it.
We're going to save one item here. We're going to get on the way back, because we need to come back. So we're going to take the turbo lift down. We're going to get these items on the way back as well. I want to pop into my favourite room in the game. I might even spend a little time there. So right here we have Eureka. And this triangle changes colour when you get near it. Don't know why. That's all it does. There's no other reason for this room to exist. That's the room.
I really do like the abandoned workings. That's obviously that's a Manic Miner reference there.
Yep. Both in name and in the sprites as well. But yeah, so we have to pop into Eureka for the room to count, because again, we're doing 100%. We want all 147 rooms. And we're already at 135, so there's only 12 more rooms to visit. So we're coming up towards the end of the game. We're also only 22 items from the end of the game as well. But the best is yet to come. So these 4 items, there is a chance I can get these without dying, but I'm most likely not going to succeed. Yeah, I'm just going to take the death, I think, and use the invincibility frames. So it's very difficult to get that without dying. I still haven't found a way to do it consistently.
This was a screen that I didn't enjoy when I was playing this game.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to. But like all the rooms, it's about finding a pattern and finding a consistent way of getting through it. Because every time you enter a room in this game, it's always in the same state. So you can pretty consistently do things if you learn a strat for it. Right, so I have 6 spare lives here. I'm going to damage boost my way through these water droplets, because otherwise it takes just absolutely ages to wait for a time where you can jump. And we've got some spare lives again. And of course, because we have to collect that item, we actually have to go around twice. So you get to see me damage boost for it again. There we go. So we drop out through the outlet and we end up on the beach.
Yes, you do.
We're going to do a weird jump off the rope so we can take a death in the tool shed to collect that item quickly. Again, it's just much faster than going the long way round. We've got to take 2 more deaths to access the final optional room, let's say. So from the bow, we're going to jump off into the water and die, and then we're going to use our invincibility to jump into the cheat room. And we're going to walk to the deserted isle. Oh wait, no we're not. We're dead. So there's a cheat prevention room there to stop you from getting to the deserted isle without hitting the trip switch. But we've hit the trip switch now, so what we can do is we can collect this item and run to the left, and the boat sails off.
I do love that animation.
And here we are on Deserted Isle. We collect the item, and then we just have to wait. This is a perfect time for any messages, if there's any left.
Unfortunately, we don't have any donations right now, but I would like to thank ESA for supporting this marathon. Besides providing us with the channel for streaming, they've also provided us with some gear, some technical assistance, and also some sponsors as well. So be sure to check out ESA's next marathon, ESA Winter 21, from the 14th to the 21st of February. And also, on top of that, as well as ESA, we've also had a lot of support from BSG. They hold bi-monthly gatherings in the Netherlands, and they've been supporting UKSG from the beginning. So, excuse me, I'll lose my voice a second. BSG is celebrating their 5-year lunchtime soon. So on the February 27th and 28th, they're going to be hosting another online marathon for you as well. So please do check out those.
Yeah, thank you very much. So after we've rescued from the deserted isle, we've hit a hidden teleport in the bottom of the island. And that takes us back to Beam Me Down Spotty. We use this to go back to the bathroom. We're still not going to collect that tap. we don't like that tap. So basically what we've done is we've left the bath running for an hour and a half. So we've flooded the bathroom.
I absolutely love the fact that in the normal game, that is almost always the first item that you'll always collect. And like this game, it's the last item. Well, not quite, but very nearly.
Yeah, pretty much. So we've got these 2 items here to pick up. We're just going to do that. We're going to take a quick shortcut up here by timing our jump off the lift. I don't know if that's intended or not, but it's fun, so we'll do it.
I think you can do it in Jet Set Willy 2 as well. So
Yeah, I think so. We're going to turn the landing light off. And then finally, we're going to go to bed. So Willy jumps on bed, and suddenly he gets the urge. So I'm not controlling it now. I've taken my hand off the controls. Willy is running back to the bathroom because he's decided he suddenly needs to go. You know how it is. You spend all that time trying to go to bed, and as soon as you get in bed, you need to go to the bathroom.
it's an awful long way to go to the bathroom.
Yep. And we collect the tap on the way to the bathroom, and suddenly we're in the central cavern. So this is the first room of Manic Miner, and you'll see this in a second. Time is coming up. So in order to complete this room, we have to collect the 5 keys and head to where the exit would normally be in Manic Miner. To get there quickly, I'm going to Death Warp, like that. And time's coming up in 3, 2, 1, and that's time. So this is the game complete. We've got 147 rooms, we've got 330 items. If I want to try and explore the mansion again now, I can't, because as soon as I try to leave the off license, I'm back in Central Cavern. What was my time on that?
Your time was 40:58.
Okay, so not quite a good time.
That was brilliant.
It's not a PB, but it's still quite good.
Really, really good.
We're going to quickly die by jumping into this button, because I never jump into this button. There we go. And then we'll get a well done screen to say we've done it. And that's everything. So shout outs to Tiny Tim for helping me with the commentary.
Thank you.
And check out the Speedrun Spec Running Discord. You can find it on the speedrun page for this game or on my profile, Twitch profile. Thanks for watching. Anything you want to say, Tim?
No, I want to just thank you very much again, Duck, for having me along. Absolutely fantastic watching that game. Lots of good memories there. So yes, fantastic, Rob. Thank you very much.
I have something I'd like to mention. I have a $5 donation from Ian. GG.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.